To me, personally, anyone under the age of 18 should not be allowed to use YouTube or social media. It always makes me sad whenever I go out in public or see someone who's very young using an iPad and watching some brain rot on YouTube Kids or something like that. Now, I know for a fact that this will never become a law, that it should be illegal for kids to use YouTube or social media, because if that were the case, then the internet would need to be even more censored than it already is. And plus, there are ways to sneak around, age censorship on YouTube and the internet in general. But I'm just expressing my thoughts here because after seeing the whole, well, I mean, it's not just this one situation. There's been many situations, but after seeing the whole EDP, Jadeon and what's her name, Kayla situation going on, you know, seeing Jadeon endanger a child to try and catch a predator, which was very stupid. It just reaffirms my belief that kids should not be allowed on the internet at all unless they're contacting a family member or a friend who's very far away and they're under like parental supervision or something like that. Because the truth is, and I know it's going to sound harsh here, and I'm not saying that there aren't any stupid adults, but kids are very stupid. Like teenagers, they go through that phase where they think they're smarter than everybody else, and that's not always the case. Teenagers, especially, do stupid stuff all the time, and that's normal because as a result of human biology and our evolution, yada 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 yada. Uh, during during that phase of being a teenager, the brain is still developing. Like some people say, the human brain doesn't fully develop until age 25, and as a result of the brain still developing, everybody who's been a teenager will go through that phase where they regret doing something cringy as a kid. And as a result, kids can unintentionally end up in very bad situations where they end up getting groomed online by a random stranger and getting traumatized. I mean, what what was her name? The YouTube animator girl who does slice of life videos. She got into a YouTube beef with the conservative YouTuber thing before you sleep. Lily Illuminations, yeah. I remember this one story she told where when she was a dumb teenager, she got involved with an online relationship where the partner she was with, well, no, not even a partner, the scumbag that she was with, he would threaten suicide and emotionally abuse her, and that's crazy, right? Like Ellie Mations, she wasted her teenage years basically being emotionally manipulated and abused by a random stranger on the internet. That's crazy to me, and it could have been avoided if there was stronger laws against YouTube or against kids not being allowed to be on YouTube. Like, for example, right? If a kid uses YouTube and the authority finds out, then the parents are fined like $2,000 or something like that. Sort of like with a speeding ticket, but way more extreme. But again, this is just all uh, hypothetical. I know for a fact that if this law existed, then all sorts of shit would just go out of control. Like kids would be making alternate accounts, and people on YouTube would be talking about, oh, YouTube's trying to crack down on us or something like that. And yeah, it's an impossible thing to implement. But overall, I just feel like kids should not be using YouTube. And I know it's pot calling the kettle black because when I was a kid, I was using YouTube all the time. I would go to my public library, sign onto the computer, use YouTube, and comment under people's videos, leave some cringe stuff. But thankfully, I was smart enough to not get groomed by a random stranger online because I feel like you had to be stupid to get into that situation, which makes sense because, like I said, teenagers are by default stupid because their brains are still developing. And yeah, if kids weren't allowed to be on YouTube, then oh my goodness. I'm pretty sure like many channels would just freaking die. I'm talking about Glitch, uh, Moist Critical. Um, what other channels do stupid kids like? Oh, Vizzy Pop. Yeah, that kind of stuff. That those channels would be in danger if their child audience were to suddenly be banned off the platform. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't like kids being on the internet. I feel like the internet should be adults only. I don't even want kids to comment under this video. If I was a kids next door villain, I would probably call myself the pro choicinator because I feel like there's already too many gosh darn kids out there. I see some crazy conservatives talking about how young men and women nowadays aren't reproducing enough. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, go to a poor neighborhood, go to a ghetto poor neighborhood. You'll see plenty of people, white or black, that have like 5 or 10 kids living off welfare and child support. Like, don't get me wrong, people are still reproducing. It's just the people that you don't recognize, identify with, or want to be affiliated with.